Welcome back to the weekly Bitcoin.com news show. My name is Corbin Fraser. Today is Friday, September 18th, 2020, and we've got more Bitcoin news to share with you today, including, are you really anonymous on Tor? Mad Money's Jim Cramer's fixated on buying Bitcoin. PayPal continues to censor merchants, and hackers attempt to crack a Bitcoin wallet with $712 million worth of Bitcoin in it. So let's go to the top. We've got, are you really anonymous on Tor? So Tor, the preferred browser for anonymous access to the dark web, apparently isn't as anonymous as you might think, according to a new study. The paper published to the Hacker Factor blog states that IP addresses for web searches and cryptocurrency transactions can be uncovered by anyone with enough incentive. These revelations come as part of a series of papers aimed at exposing vulnerabilities on the Tor network. With increased scrutiny of dark web transactions from authorities and potential hackers, the paper also highlights a new privacy project called NIM, which aims to address long-known vulnerabilities on the Tor network. The NIM team recently invoked a tokenized testnet experiment and is leveraging Bitcoin for rewards, emphasizing their claim that NIM will offer seamless integration with any blockchain-based technology. So cool developments, I guess, on the whole Bitcoin and Tor aspect. For those of you who don't know, Tor is the Onion router. It's a free open source browser that allows you to connect to the darknet, where you can browse anonymously and also use it to shop online at various darknet markets, where you can get a little bit of the fun wacky tobacco and a little bit of the nose clams and all the other fun stuff you might want to shop for on the internet. But be careful, and obviously you're not so anonymous. Obviously, depending on the legality of those substances, you may not want to buy those because you could go to jail. Jail doesn't sound so fun. Next up, we've got Mad Money's Jim Cramer. He is fixated on buying Bitcoin. So Jim Cramer, longtime host of CNBC's Mad Money, said he's fixated on acquiring Bitcoin, citing fears of massive inflation of the US dollar on the horizon. The TV host stated that while he's heavily invested in gold, he plans on leaving an inheritance of Bitcoin to his children. Cramer is the latest figure in a growing list of high-profile personalities to advocate moving into Bitcoin as a means of hedging against the Fed's recent announcement that they'll be moving to push up inflation. When asked about Bitcoin price fluctuations, Cramer responded that he was unconcerned about the volatility, as Bitcoin would be part of his portfolio as an alternative asset. So I think this is kind of an interesting story, because this is what we're constantly seeing from new people coming into the space, is that they're treating Bitcoin as a hedge against the traditional finance system, which is basically backed on private banks such as the Federal Reserve, which is not actually run by the government. That's a completely private bank that likes to hit the old printer button every now and again to decrease the value of the money in your bank account and in your pockets. Whether or not people want to use Bitcoin for an alternative hedge or as peer-to-peer payments, to me it doesn't really matter so long as it's useful. And I think clearly an alternative asset hedge versus the Fed or versus private banks that are issuing their own currencies and kind of playing with the levers of the economics of different countries, I think it still has value to plenty of folks. And I think we're going to see more and more companies and businesses and people that will be entering the space as inflation continues to grow. Next up, we've got PayPal continues censorship of merchants. So this week, merchants whose fares included the word tardigrade were banned from accepting payments due to the word being associated with an illicit arms dealer in Eastern Europe. So tardigrades, also known as water bears and moss piglets, are 8-legged microorganisms that have acquired a cult fan base over the years. These seemingly arbitrary bans on the use of the word without prior warning has devastated sales of tardigrade collectibles, prompting some merchants to embrace Bitcoin's peer-to-peer payment system as an alternative to PayPal's unpredictable censorship. So PayPal has come under fire in recent years for banning countless businesses and industries, such as WikiLeaks, as well as adult entertainment industry at large. When confronted with these unfair censorship practices, especially those of the legitimate tardigrade merchants, PayPal offered little in response, advising merchants to simply change the verbiage. So yeah, you've probably seen this perhaps on our Bitcoin or our BTC, but many people have now, anyone who was running a business that was selling these tardigrade collectibles, they've all had to rename everything to water bears. And there's some concern as well, because if you're used to searching for the item as tardigrade on Google, and suddenly nothing's showing up and all the shops have kind of closed down, they're less likely to be able to buy the thing that they want. So they'll now have to search for these alternative names and kind of nicknames for the item. This does kind of, show that having middlemen sucks. Getting middlemen involved in payments, it just presents more headaches than it's worth. So go visit Bitcoin.com. We have a whole explanation on our website where we explain how to accept Bitcoin as well as Bitcoin Cash on your website, as well as in store. And to me, it seems like if you're going to be getting involved with these third-party middlemen, which not only take quite high fees but also potentially censor your own products from being sold, just be wary. Keep that in mind that one day you might be selling tardigrades online to a cult fan base, and the next you're shut down. So be careful out there, folks. Next up, we've got hackers attempting to break into a wallet holding $712 million worth of Bitcoin. So over the past 2 years, hackers have been attempting to crack a Bitcoin wallet containing 69,000 Bitcoin, currently valued at an estimated $712 million US dollars. So the wallet file in question has apparently been sold on hacker forums for over 1,000 US dollars per download, with some hackers willing to purchase encrypted wallet files for the chance of someday breaking in. Many users cautioned against this practice, citing long-running scams where websites sell empty wallets for high prices. Despite various attempts to crack the high-value wallet, the file's encryption has yet to be broken. I guess just if you're trying to break into wallets for fun, I didn't even know there was a market for that, so that's very cool. But I guess sounds like maybe be careful if you're buying them, since you can probably just create a whole bunch of wallets and encrypt the crap out of them, and they got nothing in them, and nobody's the wiser. You can just pull a random address off of an Explorer and say, yeah, sure, there's $1 million in that wallet. Look, I got the transaction ID, and there's an encrypted wallet. I don't know, kind of interesting. I think, obviously if people are able to break into these wallets that maybe aren't using such high encryption, that's certainly a possibility. But I think, if and when wallets start getting broken into at a wider, from a wider point of view, then we're probably in some bigger problems than just one wallet. But yeah, good luck to whoever's trying to break into that. That'll be fun. 69,000 Bitcoins. Yeah, I'd take a piece of that, sure. We've got some comments actually from the last video, including one from Scythian Kitchen. They said nothing on the BCH DevCon last weekend. Who won? What did they design? Haven't heard anything about it. Okay, well, first off, you got to go visit devcon.cash. They've got a mailing list there. They've got the Discord channel. But just to give you a high level, there was the winner called Hush Your Money, which created a privacy add-on for the Bitcoin.com wallet, which allows users to rate their wallet and find out how secure or how private the UTXOs are within their wallet, which was kind of an interesting project. And they also did the secondary thing, which was built off of, I believe it's called Nito.js, N-I-T-O. And what they've built is a web service that allows you to shuffle and fusion your coins. And the hope is that, we may be able to work with them in the future, and with any luck, get them added into the Bitcoin.com discovery section, where people can then opt in to use a little bit more privacy in their transactions and their day-to-day transactions, that is. There was also Hedgie.cash, which was done by Andre Cabrera, as well as his posse of South American buddies, which is very cool. They're hardworking guys, actually the original creators of Pitico.cash, which is also a winner of a previous hackathon. And as well, they were kind of the brains behind Bitcoin.com Mint. So very cool to see them creating some stuff. This Hedgie.cash thing, I believe it allowed users to bet on the value of an oracle price of something else. So if you had the price of gold and you wanted to say, I'm going to take a hedge against the price of gold in a week, and if it's over this amount or under this amount, you can bet whether or not it's going to go high or go low. I guess it's kind of like options trading. And I think they had some other oracles tied into there as well. I think in theory you could do that with sports betting as well and some other things, but very cool to see. And there was a few other really interesting projects, including some SLP projects, including some games. There was also, off the top of my head, I'm blanking on a few other things. Oh yeah, there was an interesting one by Roscoe, the guy from CashScript, which is kind of like Bitcoin Cash's version of Solidity. And what he did is created a online test net. If you've ever used JS Fiddle or any of these other kind of programming tools that allow you to dabble with code and libraries directly in a website without having to download and compile everything and get it all working on your local machine, You can just run it on a server and poke around with it basically, which is very cool. So yeah, hopefully more people will play around with some more of the scripting capabilities of Bitcoin Cash, which was kind of interesting. But of course, definitely go check out devcon.cash and go follow them. They've got their own social media and Telegram accounts, so go pop in there and say hi, and I'm sure you'll see some more projects coming out of that whole hackathon, which is very exciting. So congratulations to the winner, and thanks for reminding us to talk about that. And that's all we've got today. Leave a comment below. Love to answer it next week. Like, subscribe, share, and we will see you next week. Thank you again. Bye.